I want you to think about something. Think about a momentous occasion in your life. A college acceptance, a sudden move, a job offer. Think about the excitement, the anticipation for this new change, the celebrations you have amongst friends. Then, as we all do, we get busy. Suddenly, those friends start to drift. The time between text or call stretches out further and further until one day, you wake up and realize that the split in your friendship is now too large to cross anymore. Sound familiar? It does to me. I know that because, like most of you, I've experienced it. I had a friend who I thought would always be my ride or die. We saw each other through our petty arguments, our inside jokes, or stupid crushes. We saw each other grow up. And then the day came where we had to say goodbye to each other. And the memory still feels like an open wound. I would cry every time I left my childhood friends. We'd swear to each other that we'd keep in touch, but we wasted our breaths. And I know that no matter how many times it happens, it'll hurt just as bad. It's exactly what I feared when I moved here, to a boarding school 2 hours away from my friends back home. Now I know that to most of you guys, that might not seem like a big rift, but to a kid like me, 2 hours away might as well be 1,000,000 miles. I place immense value in my friendships. To me, my friendships occupy just as much space in my heart as any familial or romantic relationship. For the devotion between two people who are not family, but consider each other as such, is to me the purest form of love. My friends truly are my home. And maybe that's why it stung so bad every time a friend and I would fall out. And it wouldn't even just be the absence of the person that stung, but a sense of loss for everything that we had shared together. And that sheer emotional weight that I would place on every friendship would leave me shattered when they left. I used to blame myself. I used to think, is it my fault? Did I do anything wrong? But then I realized sometimes it's not even your fault. People change as well as the bond that you once shared with them. They'll change in ways that can make it harder and harder for you to call them a friend. And the worst part is you just have to sit back and watch and pretend not to notice. But then one day you'll see a new Instagram post of them and realize that you don't know this person at all anymore. That someone who you used to call if you needed a shoulder to cry on could now be a complete stranger. But you watch them go and live a life in places you've never seen, with people you've never met, and despite everything, find yourself happy for them. Their new opportunities, connections, experiences are, in the end, the truest versions of themselves. And although that's a version of themselves that they couldn't find with you, in the end, it's their happiness that truly matters, no matter if it changes your bond. Despite that, I truly believe that all friendships, in the end, can be good friendships. The impact that these connections leave on you is, in many ways, the most important part. And although I've learned that losing friendships is a whole different type of grief, the love given and received between us stays. And I've come to learn that the value in these relationships don't always lie in their permanency, but in how they transform you. Whether you've known them a day or decade, each one of these friendships has something to give you. Now, this might be a good lesson, a bad lesson, or even just company in a hard time. But every friendship is valuable in the same way that every friend is valuable, no matter if it changes your bond. And in the end, you will always find a little bit of every friend you have ever made with you. You will find your middle school seatmate in your favorite songs, someone you met at a summer camp in the way you do your hair, your 5th grade best friend in the book that you never get tired of reading. You see, there will always be pieces of them in your habits, your quirks, your words. You never said a proper goodbye to any of them. But that's because you didn't have to. Some people aren't meant to stay. And some friendships aren't made to last. And though in time, I'll fade from their minds, they will always have a home in mine. This is dedicated to all the people in my life, both the current and the past, who I've been lucky enough to call my friend. I value you more than you will ever know.